Today I'm talking about filmmaking tips and specifically how to have the mindset to become a successful filmmaker. So number one is to have your eye on the prize. Figure out what it is that you want to accomplish and resign yourself. Make the intention that what you're going to do, you're going to do the work. You're going to take every step, every day you're going to work towards that goal. You're going to keep your eye on the target and keep moving forward. I can't express how important it is to have that momentum and to maintain that momentum. Oftentimes, when it comes to art, things that we are creating, it is so easy for us to get tripped up on one step. So having movement, setting like deadlines for things, that's extremely important so we don't just get caught in this like trap of always preparing and then the film never gets created. I worked on an awful lot of projects that just kept going. It's like, oh, we've been working on this short film for 4 years on a short film. 4 years. Prepping, thinking, designing. That's procrastination. That's not movement. Resign yourself to say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this on a schedule. I'm going to do this with a deadline. Like, I need to shoot this by a certain date, so that you don't get caught in that trap. The next thing would be the next step. What is the next step or next steps that you can take in order to move towards your goal? Now, if you look at a project like the project as a whole, when you're looking at the entire thing, it's huge. There's an awful lot to do when it comes to making a film. And we can easily get overwhelmed when it comes to looking at a film, all the work that we need to do, big picture wise. So we need to break this down into smaller chunks. So break it down into categories and then start breaking those down. But the most important thing to have is the next steps, the things that you can do next. If you're completely new at this and you've never made a film before, your next step might be to write a story or to find a story. So say if you want to write a story, the next step isn't write a story. The next step is research screenwriting software, and then download screenwriting software, and research syntax. There's a lot of little pieces that go into writing a story. So we don't want to just put on our list write a story, because it's too big. It's too much for us to dive into unless we have some knowledge around it that we can use in order to write that story successfully. But be super careful here. We need to like if you put on there research how to write a story. Now, I know how easy it is. I've done it myself to go on to YouTube and try to research something, and then I just sit there for hours just like watching one video after the other, and this can go on forever. That is a trap. That's procrastination. It feels like we're moving forward. It feels like we have momentum towards our goal. But the reality is we don't. We're not moving forward. Research it just as much as you need to in order to move to the next goal. If you research some and then you start writing and then you run into a roadblock, there might be a point where you want to look into story structure or something else more specific. But you will learn a lot more and be able to choose what you really need to stick into your head when you're doing the work. The next piece in the mindset puzzle is opportunities or obstacles. You can see obstacles as opportunities to overcome them, to move closer to our goal. But if we take our eyes off of our goal and we focus on the obstacles, oh, I can't do this because of that, I don't have this, it's raining, blah, like there's a million things that are going to go wrong between the start and the finish. But if you look at them as obstacles instead of opportunities, then you're on the road to failure. As a hang glider pilot, one of the things that we talk about is target fixation. And that is when a pilot's coming in to land. I've actually seen this in real life. So I've kind of experienced part of it. When you're coming in for a landing and you see something that could be an obstacle that you might crash into, if you look at that obstacle, then you just naturally steer the glider and crash right into it. I experienced this when I was coming in on a landing one time, and I looked at the trees at the end of the runway, and for a split second before I realized what I was doing, I started flying towards those trees. I also saw somebody crash right into, there was a big open field for him to land in, and he saw a vehicle with a rack on the back of it, and he looked over at it, and he saw that as something he wanted to miss, and he stared at it, and he flew right into it. Now, this happens just throughout our lives. This happens in many different ways. But if we take our eyes off our target, if we look at the obstacle, that just means that we are not looking at our goals. We're just looking at the obstacles. So look at them as opportunities, not obstacles. Now this also has to do with obstacles, but it has to do with a very specific obstacle, and that is us. We are our own worst enemy when it comes to creating art. We get in our way. We're our own worst critics. We will procrastinate. We will do a million things in order to not create the art that we just feel wanting to come out of us. Something that's really important to us, and the more important it is to us, oftentimes the more resistance we feel. In the book, The War of Art, David Pressfield calls this the resistance. And I've definitely felt the resistance many times in my life. It's a constant practice to fight off the resistance and to at least know myself, know where those habits are that I can. One of my habits could be I'm tired when I come home from work. I sit down and I'll watch some I'll watch some YouTube videos, and I can like get into a trap and just sit there for hours watching YouTube videos because they're interesting to me. That's a type of resistance. That's a type of procrastination. It lives in here. Just know what your little things are. What are the habits that will get you off track? If you want to know more about rewriting bad habits, leave a comment below. I can make a video that talks more specifically to habits and how you can control them. It's not really that difficult. The big takeaway here is to know yourself, know what you do that gets in your way. Have the mindset to solve problems, not to see the problems as an obstacle, but an opportunity to break things down into small bite-sized pieces that you can manage easily when you have a little bit of time available. And the biggest, most important thing is just to set the intention. Say to yourself, this is what I'm going to do, and don't let anything get in that way. If you fall off that horse, just climb right back on and move towards your goal. Get that momentum going. Start, and don't wait to start. Start today. Say, like, right now, when this video's over, I'm going to write down what goal I want to achieve, and write down just a few things that you can do, a few next steps that you can take. And don't let yourself take forever. Make sure you put a time limit on it. Make sure you set some sort of milestone that has to happen within a certain time frame. That's That's what I got for you today. I love you all, and I hope to see you in the comments. Bye.